I'm Jim Metrock with Obligation Incorporated. I have thought about what I was going to say on this video for over a week. On June the 30th, 2014, I stood and watched the presentation of Channel One's future, their new subscription model, their curriculum they are wanting to sell to schools. I was attending the ISTE conference. That's Society of Technology Educators. I knew Houghton Mifflin would be there, and I knew that possibly Channel One might be there also. I wanted to meet with Linda Zecker, the CEO of Houghton Mifflin. She was not there, but I did get to talk a little bit with C.J. Kettler, the CEO of Channel One, although just briefly. She has always avoided me, and she couldn't avoid me at this conference. After I watched the presentation that Channel One made, I was stunned. I realized that a long journey for me, since 1996, I have been, since I found out about Channel One, I have been researching and reporting on Channel One, helping schools get rid of this waste of time. And I realized standing there after the presentation that the future of Channel One was almost totally dark. What I saw, no one would buy. Now, the presentation was made not by C.J. Kettler, who I would have thought would have made it. Channel One's a small company. It would make sense for her to do this, but for some reason she didn't want to do it, and I could see why. The employee of Channel One who made the presentation, I'm sorry, just did an awful job. It was poorly planned. It was poorly given. It was like somebody was pulled off the street that had maybe heard about Channel One's subscription model, shown a few things minutes before the presentation, and then told to go out there and tell people about it. There was technical problems. She couldn't bring certain things up that she wanted to, and you got a feeling that this is a company that is just barely hanging on. But forget the bad presentation. Everybody has a bad day. If there was substance to this curriculum Channel One is offering, that would be a different story. It could survive a poorly given presentation. But what I saw and what the few people who were there saw was nothing. This was they showed a static page on the screen that had a video in one part. You were supposed to show a video of something from Channel One, a news story, and then you clicked on, the teacher would click on vocabulary words that the students would need to know if they didn't know them. And then there was you could assess whether they got the meat of the story by clicking another button and questions coming up. And I suppose this is meant for the students to have an iPad, that they would be seeing the questions and vocabulary words coming up, and then the teacher would have on her screen the responses of the students to see how many got it or how many needed to do something else. It was, if they paid anybody to make this for them, if this looks like a in-house project that was done quickly, cheaply, and with no real expectation of success. If they paid anybody, they should get their money back. Nobody would pay for this. This was a big conference. Channel 1, who was only given 15 minutes during this whole conference that I could tell to make the presentation, they only drew no more than 10 people sitting down, and one of those was C.J. Kettler, and I think one or two Houghton Mifflin people. There were a few people standing around. I think they all were underwhelmed. At the end of the presentation, the presenter asked for any questions. No questions. It was a small audience, but nope, nobody wanted to ask anything more about this piece of work. So there were two people who said, "Oh, it looks good." As they were walking away, I asked them, "Did you really think it looked good?" One of them had a history of opposing Channel 1, and I think she just was there, like me, to see, gosh, what are they still around doing, you know? But after seeing this presentation and realizing the shape Channel 1 is in, that they have now been bought by Houghton Mifflin and are going to be digested by them for whatever purpose, and knowing there's no future, there's no requirement for schools to show the Channel 1 TV show anymore, even though it's in the contract. The equipment supposedly has been given away. The schools have no fear of the equipment being taken away from them. That's what made them watch to begin with. But there's real issues about the equipment, which I'll talk about in just a moment. After seeing the presentation, I realized this is a company that I don't need to waste my time on anymore. These people are just not worth it. In 1996, the Channel 1 that I saw and detested, and so many others did too, does not exist anymore. And I realized in Atlanta last week that Channel 1, the words Channel 1 might still linger. They might not ever go away, but their company has gone away. Their business model has gone away. You know, Houghton Mifflin is really involved in education. Unlike Alloy Media and Marketing, who owned Channel 1 before, or Zelnick Media, the makers of Grand Theft Auto, who owned them before, this company, Houghton Mifflin, has got to see soon, on their own, that they have to take apart Channel 1, get rid of the name, get rid of advertising in schools, in the few remaining schools that have it, or they're going to have Channel 1's bad reputation rub off on them. But as far as obligation, they're just not worth it. Not worth my time. Not worth anybody's time. There's very few students watching this show. There's very few advertisers that are still on this program. And there's no captive audience anymore. Now, there are a few things that I have to finish up with Channel 1. And one of them concerns the equipment. There's some... the equipment supposedly has been donated by Channel 1 to public schools. This happened supposedly last year. I don't think they transferred the equipment. I think Channel 1 is still on the hook for millions of dollars worth of disposal fees. I think Channel 1 has tried very unethically to push this these CRTs, these cathode ray tubes, on all their old equipment onto school systems and onto local taxpayers to foot the bill to get rid of this stuff, because Channel 1's assets are no longer assets, they're liabilities. When they were assets, Channel 1 was real tough with schools. I saw several letters they wrote to schools saying, you aren't showing our program enough, and we're going to come and take our equipment away from you. Well, those days are gone, and Channel 1 was asleep at the wheel. They didn't take care of their equipment until it became a massive multi-million-dollar liability. Then they tried to pass it off on schools. And one of my projects, which I will continue with, is to make sure that Channel 1 and Houghton Mifflin pays the millions of dollars for disposal fees and not school systems across this country. Several other issues I have to finish up with. The Channel 1's contract still states that children have to watch this program 90% of school days. The contract still says that Channel 1 owns all the equipment. It's very confusing. Channel 1 doesn't know what their contract says. They're saying things that are contrary to their own legal contract. This is misrepresentation. This is misleading school administrators, and we're going to stop it. All these things will happen fairly quickly, and I will be done with Channel 1, just as so many schools have finished with Channel 1 and dumped it, and gotten back a lot of school time to devote to academics. So there you are. It's the end of the line for Channel 1. It's not the end of the line for me. I'm going to continue to finish up these projects and then find something else to do with my time. And I'm looking forward to this, and I'm looking forward to hopefully having the success in something new that I've had with helping to dismantle this atrocious kiddie marketing operation called Channel 1 News. So there you are. I'll be posting a few more videos in the future. I'm going to be posting on our website, obligation.org, a lot of PDFs. I'm going to go through my files and, for the record, put everything I have on Channel 1 on the web, just for historical purposes and to help make sure that nothing like Channel 1 ever comes creeping out of the woodwork again. Thank you so much for your time. Bye.